Oh, yes. This is the Hardcore Marketing Show. I'm Casey Cheshire, your host for this epic journey. And today's show, sponsored by Cheshire Impact, on a mission to help people maximize their use of Pardot and Salesforce. CheshireImpact.com. Bam. Hey, everyone. Before we get started with the show, I'm excited to announce two things. First is that my book, Marketing Automation Unleashed, is now live on Amazon. So go get it. The second thing is we have a new sponsor, Qualified.com. I'm going to tell you about them in the next couple seconds here, and also how you can get a free copy of my book thanks to them. So who are these people? Well, Qualified is the #1 live chat and chatbot platform for Salesforce and Pardot. Sales reps can have real-time, personalized conversations with who? Your hottest website visitors. So I want you to know, I don't just partner with anyone. I genuinely love these guys. And the platform, we use it at my company. Our sales team loves it. We've closed a lot of deals based on it, had a lot of great conversations with prospects too. So, a lot of marketing these days is what? Hurry up and wait, right? Fill out this form. And then if we pass you over to sales, maybe you'll swap 6 emails with them to find a good time to talk. But what if a prospect is doing research right now and they would chat now? Why not give them the opportunity? So the best part is your company actually decides what leads are worth a live chat. There's a lot of noise out there. You don't want to talk to everyone. So Qualified actually connects to Salesforce and Pardot, and it's able to pull in lead and contact information so you can specifically know if you're talking to a VIP, a VP, a decision maker. It's really kind of like magic. Now, if you don't know who someone is, well, what happens then, Casey? Well, that's when the bots come in handy. Chat bots can then ask questions to further qualify a lead, find out if maybe this is someone you do want to talk to. And they can book meetings while your sales team is out. And they can wake up the next morning with a bunch of meetings on their calendar. Now, here's the promo. If you are a company that wants to give your sales team this ability, right, to be able to talk to decision makers right when they're on your website, do this. Go to qualified.com and start a chat, right? They use their own tool, of course. Start a chat. Tell them that Casey sent you. If you have Salesforce Pardot, when you schedule and then do a demo, they will send you a free copy of my book, Marketing Automation Unleashed. Not bad, right? Well, it's only while supplies last. So hop on this thing today. And that's it for sponsors. Let's get to the show. And there it is. Awesome. We're live. We're cranking. We are going to be geeking out. We're going to go so hardcore in the geek. It's going to blow you all away. I can't wait to introduce you to the guests today.
You are raising the bar really high off the bat.
Oh, I am. But anyone that's able to watch this video, you should go to check it out on YouTube. My guest is actually commanding a starship right now with his background. So marketing leader, speaker, and sci-fi geek, so much so that he's actually convinced he's 63% robot. He is also a well-published author of the Best Damn Web Marketing Checklist, period. He's won awards, Company Spotlight Award for Small Business, Outstanding Content for Online Marketing category. Stoney deGeyter, how are you, sir?
I am good. I don't even know if I can live up to that intro, even though it was about me. I feel like, who is that guy?
That's you, man. I'll tell you what, we'll send you an audio recording of that. You can have it as your wake-up alarm clock every morning of like, the man, the legend himself, Stoney deGeyter.
So, yeah, that could do wonders for my ego. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
You need it, man. Everyone needs a little pep me up in the morning like that.
Right,
out of bed.
right.
And, yeah. So, hey, thanks for coming on here. This is going to be so much fun. We're going to be talking about SEO, optimizing for web, and how search and marketing all tying together. We haven't really talked about this ever, if much at all, on the podcast. So I'm stoked to get into it. And we're going to start the show off the way we start every show. I'm going to pass you this. It's really heavy. All right, here you go. Go ahead, take this.
This Thor's hammer.
Thor's hammer. Go ahead, grab that. You got it? Okay.
I got
wow,
it.
You can hold on to it. That's great. He's strong. So take that and smash for me some kind of marketing myth, bogus strategy, or just some misconceptions. You want to set the record straight.
Oh, yeah. There's so many marketing myths out there. I think one of My pet peeves is people kind of correlating search engine friendly with being search engine optimized. And those are two totally different things. I guess not totally. I mean, they're in the same universe of optimization and search engine optimization, but search engine friendly is something that is done on the architecture side of the website, on the development side. By and large, it's proper coding and making sure that the site itself is accessible. Okay. Search engine optimized is the other end of that, where now we're focusing on keywords specifically. We're optimizing content. We're really heavily focusing on what the content says, the calls to action of the content, usability of the content, and the keyword optimization of that. Now, there is some overlap where in the process of search engine optimization, your job is to make a site search engine friendly. But what I see is a lot of web development shops creating websites, and they're selling them as this is a search engine optimized website, and it's not. It might be a search engine friendly website. It might have the architecture, and it might even come with a baseline of titles and optimized, meta descriptions, things like that. But that's not optimized. That's just more of the baseline of this site's search engine friendly. And that's usually the first thing I do as part of an optimization project is make the site search engine friendly. Right. Because if it's not friendly, it's not going to get found.
Right. It's like a starting point.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
But there's so much more beyond that, and where search engine friendly can be a one and done. We have made this site search engine friendly, search engine optimized. That is an ongoing process. It's never ending.
This is such a great way of describing it, because I've heard things alluding to this type of categorization, but it makes total sense now. I have two columns on my notes right here where it's like search engine friendly is on one side, search engine optimized is on the other. And on the friendly side, it's like the dev. You're like, hey, this is the tech. This is the work you do at the beginning, the technical stuff behind the scenes. I want to get into it. And then the optimize is like the soft skills. It's like the tech skills, and then the fuzzy people content skills. So do you want to kind of dive into friendly and beat that up and kind of tell us what that really takes?
Yeah, I mean, one, it takes developers who know what they're doing with architecture, and there is some optimization technically that should come before. If you're developing a website, I always want to start with the navigation, because the navigation sets the tone for the rest of the site. You figure out what your navigation is going to look like, what the categories are going to be, kind of how it's going to lay out. Because if you don't have that from the get-go, then somebody else is putting your navigation together, and they're just doing, okay, this looks good. Hey, let's do this and this. And you end up with sites that are pretty clunky on the navigation side, or they're focused on the wrong things. And I still think too many sites do that, where they focus on, hey, you know what, here's our services, here's our products, here's our About Us page, here's our careers page. And honestly, most people aren't there for anything other than the products or services. So that, to me, is the thing that should be the primary focus of the navigation. Not a services link or button, but the services, or the main product categories. That should be the first thing people see. So if they land on your site and they don't read any words of content other than the navigation, they know this is the right site for me. This site has products or services that I'm looking for, and then they can dive in. And too many people hide that stuff underneath, behind buttons or clicks, and then they're trying to focus on all this other stuff. And the About Us is good, the Contact Us is good, but nobody cares about you or wants to contact you until they know that you have what they offer. So that is the first thing that people should see. And to me, when it comes to being search engine friendly, optimizing that navigation using keyword friendly labels for the navigation, and laying that out in a structured architecture that makes sense with proper hierarchy. So when the search engines come, they can decipher that and use that to determine the value, inherent value of any of the pages. And the visitors too, they can easily see and go, okay, I'm going to start diving in and getting to the information that I came here for.
Right. Mind blown. And as you're describing what not to do, I was getting all shy thinking, oh God, what does my website look like? Um, but I didn't know. And it's okay. If people listening, if you didn't know either, that's why we're here.
Yeah,
So yeah, how often do we kind of have those generic navigational things? And you're right. It's all generic across the top. And then we want people to have to go to the next layer to even know what they're looking for. Okay, products or services. And then underneath there are the different ones. And then
yeah,
resource and underneath it, and then it's like, ooh, all the stuff about you. No, to your point, no one really cares. Like, and if they do,
it.
make a way they can go find it, and you can make it,
Yeah,
a nav for that. But the thought occurred to me as you're describing that, yeah, put your top level services just up there in that nav so that
yep,
people can understand what you do. I love that you like restricted everyone to say, okay, if they just came in and just looked at your navigation, do they know what kind of company you are? You
yeah,
know, like that's a really good challenge to think about. And I'm like looking at my own site going, oh no, like what are they going to know? But we're actually thinking about redoing our nav, and so it's a perfect timing. Yeah, we have home, strategy, services, resources, about. It's kind of like it's been, Marie Kondoed. It's kind of clean and tight, but it also,
yeah.
we could be any company in the world with that
Right,
navigation.
right. Yeah, but if you have, these are the services we offer, boom, 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 then people can read that and go, yep, this is the one that I'm looking for. I'm going to dive in to that. And they don't have to read content. And, that's the goal. The goal, we got to have content for the people who want to read it, but
Yeah,
the goal is to make it so they have to read as little amount of content as possible to dig in and get the information that they want.
right. Right. Wow. Okay. And is that the part that you mentioned where it's a little bit of that fuzzy optimization in terms of the naming at
Yeah,
the very
well, because
beginning? Because you want to
yeah, because
involve that deep. Yeah.
right, you got to do your keyword research,
Okay.
and that's more on the optimization side. So you've got to do a lot of that, and you've got to then put together how that navigation is going to flow, and then it can be coded right, and you want to make sure it's coded right. And with the search engine friendly, a lot of it comes down to accessibility of the pages. Make sure the pages are using the proper coding for the content, the headings, things like that. So it's really, and then like I said, getting that baseline of not every page says "Welcome to my site" for the title tag. It's okay. We're actually going to use some of the keyword research that we did to write some quick, easy titles and meta descriptions on the development side. So when the site rolls out, we can say, look, this site is search engine friendly. There can be some traction getting, the search engines will get some traction from that. It's not a blank slate, it's not a mess. They can get in there
Right.
and start ranking things. But then the optimizers can go back in and say, okay, now we got to fine tune this, we got to tweak the content, and we got to do deeper keyword research and really hone in on a page by page level,
Right.
what this has done. But that search engine friendly is more of the overall global foundation for which the site is, put out there. And hey, yeah, this is good. If you do nothing else, you're going to do okay. But if you want to do really great, now we got to get into the full scale optimization.
Right. Okay. Now you mentioned keyword research a couple times.
Mhm.
Could you just kind of describe at a 10,000 foot level, for some of us noobs out here, for like, okay, what does he actually mean by that?
Oh, keyword research is fun.
Is it okay? If you think it's fun, then you're the right person to ask this question. If someone's like, "Oh God, keyword, it's a
Yeah.
beast," but you got to do it. But if you think
Well, it
it's fun,
is.
that's
It
good.
can be grueling. It can be grueling because there's a lot of data that you can pull, and I've seen a lot of people at conferences talk about all this keyword data that you're pulling to figure out what keywords you want to use. And I do like to keep it simple but
Hmm.
thorough. I do keyword research in two levels. My first level is what I call core terms,
Okay.
and that is just looking through the site and finding the one or two word combinations, or maybe two or three word combinations that aren't very specific, but specific enough to describe what it is that you do on a product category by product category level. So, for a site that we work with, they sell motorcycle batteries. One category would be motorcycle batteries, another one might be battery chargers, and then another one might
Mm,
be other vehicle maintenance products or whatever. And then, that's where you start, that base
Yeah.
level. You're not getting into the, I need a battery for a 1992 Honda Goldwing. That keyword research is very specific, and it
That's
comes
later on. Yeah.
later.
Okay.
You're just looking for that broad. If somebody says, "What do you sell?" We sell motorcycle batteries. Great. We sell motorcycle battery chargers. Okay, great. We sell vehicle maintenance products. And so you're looking at all those combinations that don't get too specific, but the broad representation, and you figure out, and you use that for your navigation, and say, okay, these are our master categories, and then here are our subcategories, and things like that. So you go, okay, we got motorcycle batteries as our master category. All right, and under that, we're going to have Honda and Yamaha and Suzuki and whatever, and going down that list. And those are all tend to be those core terms that you're using for the broad category, and then kind of those other subcategories without getting too deep into it. And once you have that, then like I said, you put together your navigation, and you maybe just write some quick title tags and descriptions, things like that.
Anything different between like selling a product versus selling a service, or is it the same process for both?
It really is the same process. The big goal with the core term research is to get outside of what you know, and what the terminology is that you use for your product or service, and figure out what the customer calls it.
Right. Right, because you're in your own bubble, right? I know I'm in my
Yeah.
bubble with Pardot and what we do, for sure.
Right. I was doing keyword research for golf cart batteries, and found out that club car is another word for the same type of vehicle that people use. They're just not on the golf course. They're just zooming around the club.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, I didn't know that, and I don't even know if the client knew that. So, but doing this broad keyword research, I'm looking for similarities in other phrases to pull in that maybe we didn't know about, or maybe the client didn't know about. And sometimes you find new opportunities. Years ago, I worked for a site that sold bags, travel bags, duffel bags.
Nice. Okay. Yep.
And one of the keywords that came up, was laptop bag. And like, this is a huge opportunity. You don't sell them, but maybe you should, because look at the search volume here.
Yeah.
As I'm searching for all these bags. And then, of course, you come up with sleeping bag. Nope, that's not a good word. They're not going to sell those. But, so, and then you learn a lot in that phase, trying to figure out how the customer refers to the products that what they're called, but they might have a different terminology for it that you want to make sure, and this is all based on search. The keyword research is how people are actually searching for these things. So you want to get as much of that information as you possibly can, to make sure that you can integrate some of this terminology into your content.
Right. I could see the benefit. I mean, I know you've worked with different groups to do that. That's the benefit of hiring someone like yourself, because you like, I don't even know what, golf carts. I've driven one at a wedding or something, but like, let's go research. And then you don't have all those biases built up from like years of doing your own marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can be very eye-opening. And in some cases it can get frustrating. I had a client, I keep saying we, like I work for somebody right now, which I don't. But over the years, I had clients, and one of them was in the flow meter industry. And there were so many different ways to say the same product.
What the heck is a flow meter?
A flow meter measures gas, air, liquid flowing through a pipe.
I realized as I asked that question, I was like, "Oh God, I don't know what the answer is." There's gases. Okay,
there's a lot of different terminology. There's flow measurement. There's flow. I don't know. I haven't done it in so long.
I googled it. Flow meter, measure the total flow. Flow sites.
Yeah. So there's just, and we started doing this optimization, and there's just so many different ways to describe the same thing. I mean, you got air flow meters, gas flow meters, vortex flow meters, ultrasonic flow meters, which is also a water flow meter, or a variation of it. And it just became really complex, but it's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, we got these different terminologies. We figure out which terms go together and can be targeted on the same page, and which ones can't. Do we target ultrasonic on water flow meter page? Or do we have a water flow meter page and have a secondary ultrasonic page because it's a little bit different? And these are all things that we had to learn as we go. And even for the client, there was a learning experience in some of that. And so keyword research to me is like a giant puzzle.
Right.
You're collecting all this data, and then you're figuring out how do we integrate this into the site in the best way possible. That's just the core term research. Once
Right.
that's done,
Well, what I like about this though is you're like discovering the SEO
yeah.
puzzle. You're like the
Oh yeah,
keyword
yeah, yeah.
puzzle. You're like the puzzle master here, figuring
Oh
out
yeah.
the other pieces. It doesn't matter what industry or B2B, B2C, you're thinking about it in the same manner and process.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's just figuring things out,
Hmm.
and that core term research is done for that search engine friendly optimization. And then once you get into the search engine optimization aspect, that's where you do what I call the deeper phrase research, where you take a core term, plug it into one of the tools, and you find all of the keywords that are searched using those 2 words or 3 words in the core
Interesting.
term.
It gives you like the longer searches that involve those
Yeah.
two. Yeah.
And then sometimes you can get thousands of words, and some of these are, long tail questions and things like that. And you're just loaded up with data. Now you got, I had the word motorcycle battery, or even Honda motorcycle battery. Now I've got thousands of all these words that use
Mm.
Honda motorcycle and battery. And now I got to sort through all that. And, there's some ways, you go, okay, anything that says free, I'm going to throw that out.
Right.
And there's a lot of different elements that you have to look at as you do that research. But a lot of people, it's like, okay, I only want to focus on the high search volume stuff. And I never liked to do that um, because I feel like, some of this long tail stuff you can easily optimize if you do your keyword research right. You can easily get some of that long tail stuff as long as you know about it and know it's there. So when you
You know,
got,
I'm sorry to
uh,
interrupt. I'm a big fan of the long tail, but I think it'd be great if you could describe what that is for some people.
well, that would be, 3, 4, well, probably 4, 5, or 6 words. The questions that people ask. How do you install a motorcycle battery? Which is the best motorcycle battery? Um, you know, where is a Honda
Mm.
motorcycle battery located?
Sure.
Things like that. Or how to take care of a Honda motorcycle battery. So
Right.
it's the very specific long tail. Doesn't get a lot of searches, but that doesn't make it any less valuable depending on what you're using it for. And I try to take my research once I've taken that core term and I've got those thousands of phrases and I've gone through and I eliminated all the crap. Then you start going, okay, how do we start grouping these together? And you start trying to look at them in terms of buckets. Well, this bucket is more of somebody looking at the higher category level. They're
Oh yeah.
they're typing in the broad stuff. They don't know what product they want. They don't know what features they want. They're the broad stuff. So you got that research, what I call the research phase.
Yep.
They're still learning, and then you've got the shopping phase where they know a little bit more about what they want. And a good example I often use is like somebody searching for a TV. Okay, they're going to search for, I want a 50-inch TV or a
Hmm.
60-inch TV. So that's what they're going to type in. That's research. They don't know other
Right.
than I want a big TV. And then they learn about the TVs and then they go, okay, you know what? I'm narrowing this down. I think I want a Sony 60-inch
Right.
TV. So they start researching based on brand names, or maybe they're researching based on, I want a TV with a camera, or I want a
Hmm.
smart TV, which they pretty much all are nowadays. So they get in that research phase, and then they get into the shopping phase after that. We're like, you know what? I want a 60-inch Stoney TV with no camera.
Mm-hmm.
Which those are harder to find now. Everything's got cameras in it. So that's where they're into that shop phase. And of course, we're talking about products here, but services work largely the same way. But you can picture those searches as navigation, where you click on the TV tab and you've got that first level of searches. You click on the Sony tab, you got those. That's a whole page in itself. And then you got the products itself that fit the very specific search for what they're looking for. And so you try to bucket all of these keywords together, and then look for similar words. And a good example of that is, if somebody's looking for cheap, well, they might also be looking for discount or on sale, or closeout. And so if you're seeing those words come up in your research, you're like, you know what? I can group closeout, discount, sale, cheap, all and target them on a page, and it makes sense. Versus if there's other terms that maybe talk about high end or quality, things like that. Well, those, you don't want to optimize those words on the discount page or on the cheap page. Target the cheap words on the cheap page and target the higher end words, the value end words on another page entirely.
Right.
So you're looking for these groupings of how to group keywords by similar intent and similar meaning based on what the searcher is looking for. And sometimes that means different keywords altogether where you're getting outside of your core term per se. But if the meaning is clear, then you're focusing it on there. So that's the tricky part about keyword research, is really figuring out what's the intent of the search, and then what keywords can I group with that. So then we take that group and go, this is the page those keywords can be optimized on. And it makes sense both from the reader perspective and the sales cycle perspective.
Right. Wow. I love that you're looking at the intent and the meaning behind it. It's not just, the person searched for this. It's like they know they're looking for a Panasonic, or they know they're looking for, I'm thinking like marketing automation. Are they just searching for the general, software even? Are they searching for the type of software? If so, they're probably doing some comparison shopping like you're talking about. But if they're typing in some specific brands, now we know they're doing the research into that brand. Or even a versus, if they've got some verses out there, now you're just straight up competing and trying to consider the two different ones against themselves. But you're not just looking at the words themselves; it's what's underneath the words.
Yeah.
That where would you be in the process if you typed that phrase in?
Yeah. Well, in old school SEO, for many years was focused on let's get these keywords optimized into a page. And over the last couple of years, it's really transitioned into what is the best page for the visitor to land on based on what they're searching for. And so we have to get ahead of what they mean. What do they mean when they search for XYZ? Okay, now we need to figure out what page is the best page for that, not just for the phrase, but for the intent of the search, for what the type of information that they're looking for.
Right.
It's easy to get a page to rank for a certain keyword, but if that doesn't align with their intent, if that doesn't align with where they are in the buy cycle, then that page isn't going to have much meaning to them.
Right.
It's going to be the wrong thing. If somebody's looking for 60-inch TVs and they land on a specific product page, that does them no good. They want to know more about all the 60-inch TVs, not just that particular one, and vice versa. If they're looking for a very specific product and you land them on the page with all the TVs, that doesn't help them either, because now they have to go through and start figuring out and filtering and all that kind of stuff. So the goal is to take every keyword and go, which is the best page? And now that's the page we're going to optimize for this keyword, which is often optimizable for a handful of other keywords within that same vein of intent and context.
Right. So this makes sense. I feel like I've taken us down a rabbit hole with the keyword research, but so kind of bringing it back to the technical side. That
you got me started, man.
No, this is good. As long as one of us remembers where we're at, otherwise we're lost in this outer space, lost in space.
Right.
So on the back to the technical side, I'd love to sort of like clear that up and then get to that softer side of optimize. So start with friendly and then go to optimize. So anything we should be thinking about on the dev side, the making things search engine friendly. We've done our keyword research.
Yeah.
Now what comes next?
Then that part is all in the coding, speed issues, using proper markup, schema markup, and just making sure overall the site performs excellently. You have to use the right headings in the right places. You have to use the right HTML markup, and then schema is a big part of that now, is getting that schema in place so the search users, when they come, they can see those different elements a lot easier than rather than having to try and figure it out. So that's just a huge part of it. Speed ultimately comes down to how fast, how do we make the site faster? So there's no lag. And that's not just for the search engines. That's for the visitors too.
Right.
Nobody likes lag anymore.
No,
We're so impatient. No, we're so impatient.
Is there a way to tell if you're lagging other than looking at your own site?
I mean, you can run some speed tests. Google's got some tools for that.
Okay.
And you can just do a search for speed test, and Google will drop you right on a page that'll do that for you. So there's a lot of things you can do. A lot of people, I think, they have a fast connection with their site, and so they think that their site, our site's lightning fast. Like, dude, go down the street, go to another state. It's not fast, and you have to make sure you're not in your own little bubble with some of that stuff. And a lot of that isn't even on the dev side; that's on the web hosting side. So we often don't think about that. I'm trying to get the cheapest hosting I can because I don't want to pay $1 gazillion. Well, the cheap hosting can kill you if it's not giving you the resources and the bandwidth you need to handle the traffic. Then that you can have the fast site, but the web host is going to be the part slowing you down. So you need to make sure to check into that.
Right. Okay. So speed's important. And then how do you know if is there a checkbox that says you've done this well or haven't done this well? Is there a way to just know? Because people listening are like, oh dear God, do I know if my site is friendly or not?
Well, I mean, I would reference
me too. I have no idea. So
my book, my which is a checklist of here's the things you need to do, and you do them. And now some things there's room for improvement. Like you can get the site speed up to a certain point and go, okay, that's good enough for now. And now I'm going to work on some of this other stuff and then circle back to site speed again and see if we can inch that up even further. So there's some things that have varying degrees, and some things are just, okay, we got this done and it's good. But websites, they're living creatures. They're always changing, and there's always room for improvement. So the goal is to improve what you can as quick as you can, then circle back and do it all again.
Right. Okay. Now you mentioned the book. This might be a good time to bring that up. So what's it called, and why did you even write it? And what's it do?
The best damn web marketing checklist, period.
The best. We gotta dwell on that title. That is a title for the ages. The best damn web marketing checklist.
I couldn't think of a good title, and that just seemed like it worked.
Well, I think you did a good job. I think people may not remember anything you've said about technical web-friendly optimization, but they will. I just blended the two, but they will remember the best damn web marketing checklist. So
period.
What? Tell me about this check. Is this like a 90-page checklist or?
What no, we're talking 250 pages, thereabouts. It started as a labor of love of just me. I'm a process person, and I just wanted to have, here's the things I need to do, and here's the things I need my team to do. So it started as a 7-page PDF. Here's all the things. And then I'm like, you know what? I need to update this. 7 years later, I'm like, I need to update this. And then I thought, yeah, I'm going to expand a little bit and I'll provide an intro. It's not just a checklist now. I'll provide an intro and I'll provide an explanation for everything. And then I'm like, dude, I got a book.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and finish this out and get a book and put it out there and publish it. And then I came back a couple of years later, updated it, added, I don't know, 5 or 6 more chapters.
Is it the
And
2.0 that I'm looking at?
yeah,
Is that
yeah,
the
it's a
current version
2.0.
2.0?
That is. And
You didn't name it like
amazingly,
Panda or Penguin?
no, no, I should have.
Yeah.
Um, amazingly, not a lot changed. I think in
Okay.
the 3 years between those two versions, because the book focuses on the what to do rather than the how to. And
Right.
in digital marketing, how to do things changes all the time.
Right.
Google changes something, they add something. Facebook changes something, they add so that changes. But the what to do is pretty consistent. There was a couple things like, okay, these things are no longer relevant. I think in the first edition we were doing, it was when Google was doing author markup, and then they changed it. We're like, oh, well, let's pull that out now. We don't
Just in
need
case
author
you put a
markup.
bunch of resources into author markup, we're not going to do that anymore.
Right, right. So there's a few things that changed, or a few
Yeah.
things that no longer become as relevant or valuable. Things that we thought, or I thought was important, and many in the SEO community thought was important, it turned out to be, that's not really a thing.
Yeah.
So you have to pull those back. And then I added a whole bunch of stuff, and I have another version that I want to do another update, and I have tons
Yeah.
of notes that I have to
3.0
sort
coming
through.
out?
Maybe I've got another book I'm working on now that I don't know when that'll come out, but hopefully that'll be soon. And it's not a checklist, but it's more SEO, more along the lines of the how-to stuff
Oh,
on
nice.
SEO.
Well,
But yeah,
I'm
I mean,
looking at your cover right now, and it says 39 checklists. I feel like I'm selling this thing, but this is cool. I'm about to buy this thing right now. 39 checklists, 675 action points. So essentially, I'm going to be busy when I get this book.
oh yeah,
Thousands in increased sales, and I'd say tens and hundreds of thousands even. And I saw that
it
you have
is.
your forward written by Andy Christadina.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've chatted with him. He's
yeah,
amazing.
he is. I love him.
That's
I
cool.
love
Small world.
Yeah, it is. He was gracious enough to provide that, and I was just stoked to have his contribution.
Yeah, right on. Cool. So, all right. So we got this book to help us on the tech side. Do you want to go over to the optimize side? Does the book dive into optimizing too? Does it talk about that as
Yeah, I
much?
mean it does in a lot of different levels,
Yeah.
and that is where the optimization essentially is it's the ongoing process of improving. And if your site's search engine friendly when it rolls out, all right, we're still going to look for problems because even with brand new website that you think is perfectly search engine friendly, once the data starts rolling in, you're going to start seeing, oh, we have a problem here. People aren't visiting this page. People aren't converting from this page. People
Right.
aren't finding this page. And so you start seeing that data, performance data, and all of that. And so it starts giving you a lot of stuff to tweak, to change, to test. And just on the pure keyword side, you're taking those keyword research, you're doing some of that deeper research, and you're optimizing pages. Maybe you're creating new pages, maybe you're optimizing your product category pages, or you're improving the templates for your product pages, things like that.
Yeah.
So there's just so much going on, and with content marketing being such an important thing, we're always developing content, and we're looking at what keywords are we not targeting on the site, or what keywords aren't performing well on the site. What can we do to improve that performance? Do we need to tweak that page, or do we need to go and create a new page?
Right.
Whether it's a blog post, or hey, you know what, there's an opportunity here to create a new subset of a category for this. So that is the optimization process that never really ends, because we're collecting data, we're seeing how people are finding us, and we're going, what are the missed opportunities? So we need to improve or create new content to take advantage of those opportunities. and then running tools through the site constantly to see, okay, hey, we have a slowdown here, we have a problem here, we have an architectural issue here.
Right.
And for give you a great example, I mean,
Yeah.
my website, when I had my agency, we know all this stuff. We developed a new website, we were thrilled with it, and about 3 years later, we're looking at some of these pages going, these pages have no calls to action.
Oh, geez.
What the heck? Now we
Yeah.
have the call to action in the navigation and things like that, and they're kind of more informational pages, but we're like, missed opportunity right there. So we have to go back and we're like, hey, let's do this. And that's why you have these checklists, because there's so much to do and there's so
Right.
much to remember that I am constantly, I keep a copy of that checklist on my desk. Even though I wrote the stupid thing, I'm thumbing through it going, what did I miss? What am I forgetting? What's the next thing I should do? Or what haven't I done in a while that I need to check up on? And that just gives me that refresher where I don't have to remember all of this stuff.
Hmm.
I can just go back to and do it. And whether you use a checklist or other kinds of processes, it doesn't matter. The goal is to make sure that you have a repeatable process that you can fall back on and not keep trying to have to remember what to do.
Right, right. I could see why the checklist make sense. I mean, sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to read a bunch of checklists, but actually, sometimes you don't want to read a bunch of words just to know
Right.
what are the to dos you need to get done.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Very
So I
cool.
mean, it's just an ongoing thing, constant.
Constantly. And I know you've finished some projects, so you're available. So would this be something where you could take a look at? I mean, obviously, I'm going to ask you offline. I'm going to ask you to take a look at our site
Yeah.
for sure. But is this something you would consider if you have the bandwidth for it to take a look? Some of the listeners have
Oh yeah.
sites they're not sure. Are they friendly? Are we optimized? You could maybe take a peek at it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I am between jobs right now,
sure.
and so technically, I'm available for consulting work. Anybody wants to hire me to do a site review or ask me questions and just get some feedback, I'm there. Or if you're in a company that needs a high end SEO, I'm your guy. So feel free to reach out. But yeah, I mean, I love this stuff, and
Yeah.
anybody who says, "Hey, can you help me out?" I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to help you. I love finding problems and going, here it is, and here's what you got to do, and that's
Yeah.
going to fix your problem.
Yeah. To your point, uncovering the puzzles, right, of what's
Oh yeah,
happening here and there. Question for you, because I know you're looking at things, you're researching things all the time. You know, marketing's constantly changing. Obviously, SEO is changing a lot. What's exciting you these days about marketing? Do you see anything coming around the bend? Do you see any changes happening where you're like, oh, I think I know where this is going, or you just got maybe it's new tech or tools or strategies that are happening? What's kind of exciting for you out there?
um, I'm interested to see how AI
Yeah.
factors in. I'm very, very skeptical about it because I mean, what happens when you put AI against AI? you know, there has to be a human element, and we're seeing a lot of tools pop up. Say, hey, we use artificial intelligence and get this and this and this. And I don't know if those things really are artificial intelligence, quote unquote,
Right.
versus just a good learning algorithm. I think those are
Right.
two different things. Um, but AI is going to be important in the marketing. I think it will be another tool, but I don't think we can ever turn marketing over to it
Yeah.
because that's when it's pure AI against AI, and I don't think they can win. You
Right.
know,
Reminds me of that
it,
war game show. Remember that? How many
yes,
players of the game? Zero. What? Who would have thought we'd make it zero? Zero humans. And then it's like the computer versus computer launching missiles this
right,
and way that way. It's like no one can win. Oh, the computer shuts down.
exactly.
Movie
So
ends.
yeah, so there's always going to be the human element that's
Right.
necessary. Because I don't think even AI can quite, at least not for a while, quite mimic human behavior or even understand it to a degree that we can. It can look for patterns, but we're human. We throw the patterns out the window half the time.
It's
You
true.
know.
It drives me crazy that the word the acronym, I guess, gets used AI because I think we're really talking about is more of that augmented, where we're getting assistance, finding patterns.
Yeah.
We're learning what patterns maybe lead to results, as opposed to, you know, Ex Machina or something, actual AI breaking out of the house. Oh, wait, spoiler.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's not that. It's not, you know, Tron coming to get us. It's just a smarter, you know, program that actually could be a little more intuitive, maybe, or maybe just the patterns it's looking for can be more expanded than maybe our narrow focus might be.
Yeah, it's funny you said that because and I'm writing a sci-fi novel. It's about
Oh
time
yeah,
travel,
time travel.
and at the end of the book, I mention
Oh my God, you're not going to spoil the book for us right now, are you?
no, 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 I
Okay.
won't.
All
I just
right.
mentioned this device that has artificial intelligence built into it, and my beta reader's like, "Oh, I was with you until that, and that just kind of that was a step too far." And I
Really?
got it, and because it wasn't that kind of sci-fi, it was more of a real world grounded sci-fi. And then just mentioning the artificial intelligence, it conjured up this image of okay, this machine is self-thinking and all
It's
that. It's like
magical.
that's not what I meant. So I had to go back and it's like it's like a mild form of artificial intelligence.
Right.
It's not a conscious machine. It's just a learn, and I had to rephrase it as like a learning algorithm because it was just
Wow.
because it was the book is so based in reality. That was one step that just took it into oh now we're in real sci-fi,
Right. Yeah. Now, or
Um,
like real fantasy, right?
yeah,
uh
yeah,
Science fiction over into fantasy. Oh, it's this thing and it does, you know, it's not even plausible or possible that it was doing that.
right, right,
Versus that's interesting that the reader's kind of like, oh, okay, this is just
yeah,
some, all right, now it's
it,
cheesy. You
yeah.
had me
It
till
took it out of that realm of
they believed in
reality.
time travel.
Right, right.
Right. Oh, you
We
went
can
back in
believe
the thread of
that.
time, space time. Yeah, you manipulated space time. I
Yeah,
understand. But then AI, give me a
yeah,
break,
yeah.
Stoney.
No,
Come
we're not
on.
going there with you.
Yeah. Wow. What was your first reaction? Were you like, "Come on, guys," or did you kind of got it when they
No, I
did
did
that?
because I had the same thought when I was writing it, and so when
Right.
they vocalized it, it was like, yeah, I'm with you. So I just had to reword that so it wasn't quite so fantastical,
That's right. That's right.
much
You
more
know,
real
I
world.
remember playing back as a kid, like a Dungeons and Dragons, and I had a boomerang that I just decided to make it AI with an intelligence of 18. It was a boomerang. For no reason other
Yeah,
than yeah, so it magically transported, yeah, your whole story into like
right.
Casey as a teenager just
Yeah.
making up stuff. Um, Crazy. So when's the book? I mean,
I don't
I don't want
know.
to like, when's the book come out? You think? Are you still work in progress or?
It's still work in progress. I'm in what I'm hoping is the final edit.
Right.
I've thought that before. The problem is I'm a new fiction author, so I'm still learning stuff.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, so from all the feedback I've gotten, the book is really good. So I'm hoping to do the final edit now, and then haven't decided if I'm going to self-publish or try and find a traditional publisher. I've been looking for a good traditional publisher, and it's part of a series. I've got two more to write. So if I don't, I guess if I write the next two and I still haven't found a publisher, then I'll self-publish. So
Right.
that we're talking years at this
Well,
point.
just don't George R. R. Martin on me, okay?
Oh,
Don't
I
don't
know.
have this thing with HBO at halfway done and then just never finish it and then allow the producers to completely squash the ending.
That
Um,
is my biggest fear because I started the second one, but I keep going back to editing the first one. And I'm so worried that I just won't finish it.
yeah.
And, it's like, oh, I got to. And I guess what thing that keeps me going forward on that is the idea that I had for the book is really only happens in the third one. The first two are set up.
No
And
kidding.
now they're independent stories and they work, but I realized I can't execute this story without having this setup, and that setup
Interesting.
was going to take two other books. So the idea that I have, I'm like, I haven't even touched it yet.
Wow.
So that's kind of one thing I go, okay, I've got to get to that
You
idea
got to
because
get it
that's what I
out.
wanted
Yeah.
to write. I'm just writing this other stuff just to get there, just to be able to get there, So
Makes
that
sense.
it's exciting.
Did you ever read The Martian?
I did. I love that book.
Yeah, did you read it before you watched the movie? Did you see the movie too, or?
I saw the movie first and then read the
No,
book.
sacrilege. Stoney, you're an
Oh,
author.
I'm a movie guy. I'll
You're a movie
watch
guy too.
movies all day long. I do read a lot, but I much prefer to watch the movie.
Okay, did you like the movie better, Martian, or the book better?
I think I like them equally.
Okay.
I mean, there are some things in the book that weren't in the movie as per usual, um, but the movie is just it's so well done. You know,
It was actually well done. What's his name? Who did that? Ben?
Matt Damon.
Matt, right, right. Yeah, Matt did a great job of that, and they did a good job making the screenplay because the majority of the book is him just talking to himself.
Oh, I
So,
know.
so it's like, there's no dialogue here. It's just him mouthing off, and he's so funny.
Yeah.
I didn't technically read it either. I listened to the audiobook,
Okay.
and I'm looking up who it was. R.C. Bray, the guy who did the audio for The Martian, was fantastic. He
Really.
was like the same kind of character as Dame, where it's just like this irreverent guy, just kind of saying. So the narration was fantastic. So it was kind of the in between a book and a movie for me. I was just
Yeah.
listening to this
Oh,
thing,
that's cool.
and but apparently they had Will Wheaton re-narrate it, which I'm like, fail. I mean, he's a great narrator, but come on, the original guy was perfect.
Really, I've actually heard that Will Wheaton is an excellent narrator,
He
and
is,
somebody
yeah,
somebody said if you would get anybody to narrate your book, get him.
yeah.
Which I never liked his character on Star Trek, and
Who did? So annoying.
but hey, I think he's a great guy from everything I've heard, and being able to do a narration that stands out. People like this is it. That's awesome.
Did you ever read Ready Player One?
No, I
You
did
saw the movie,
not.
didn't you?
I did see the movie. I'm a movie
Damn you.
guy.
Well, I want you to know that movie was terrible.
uh, I would not disagree too vehemently on that.
No, if you hadn't done the book, then you wouldn't have any idea. And in fact, I know some people that saw the movie and liked it, and
Really?
and I can't hold it against them. But
Yeah.
Will actually did the narration for Ready Player One, and that's
Oh
the first
yeah.
time I've heard him speak. And first of all, that book is killer,
Is
way
it?
better than the movie. And then Will did a fantastic job with it. Like, so some of the scenes where he finds the first key is all he does is back up his car, and that's how he finds this. No, no, it took weeks of really intuitive thinking and he was actually on this one planet where he's basically playing this like dungeon exploring adventure, and he had to like fight this guy, and it was like really epic, and people would come. Yeah, they simplified that with a car chase, and I was like, no, this is so formulaic with a
Oh
car
yeah.
chase. But yeah, I know some
That's
people liked
funny.
it. That's okay.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the difference between books and movies.
Isn't it though? Yeah.
And there's only been a few movies that I thought were as good as, if not better, than the book.
Which ones?
Um, I think The Rainmaker, John Grisham's The Rainmaker. I
Oh, okay.
love that movie. Jurassic Park. Obviously, that movie's awesome
Great
and
movie. Yeah.
classic. The book is great too. I mean, I would say the book is better. But here's one for you. You've seen The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Have you read the book?
No.
Oh man,
Is the book just way better?
the book is
Really?
it's hilarious. The guy who wrote the movie also wrote the book. But in the beginning of the movie, he's reading The Princess Bride by S. Morgenstern. Well,
Right.
the book is written, quote unquote, by S.
Right.
Morgenstern, but then he's giving us the abridged version of the book. So in the book that you're reading, which is the book, it's telling you all the stuff it cut out. Okay,
Right.
here the author went on for 5 pages talking about Princess Buttercup's hats. And so and there were several times where I was like, is this real? Was there another book that he's actually truncating? And were some of these places real? And I had to look them up like, nope, nope, these places aren't real. And it's just this awesome blend of fiction and reality.
Right.
And it is an amazing book to read. I've read it a couple times.
Huh. That's cool. That's really cool. I heard something about the Morgenstern thing, so I'll have to check that out. It sounds like it's irreverent and just talking about itself, and
Yeah.
um, that's cool. It's a rewrite, right? It's an abridged rewrite of the original
It's
quote unquote book.
right.
Yeah,
The original
that's
quote
cool.
unquote. That's it.
Huh. Well, this is fun. I could geek out with you all the time on sci-fi. My question is, who are you? Where did you come from? How did you become, an author, speaking of marketing, the SEO know-all? Like, take me back. Take me like little Stoney
Ah,
days. Take me back in your
little,
time machine.
little Stony. Yeah, my time machine. I got one of those. Yeah, I, I picked up a book, Learn HTML in 24 Hours, and got halfway through it and said, I can do this. And then I set it down and I built my first website.
Do you know when that was? Because I swear I picked up a similar book, but I'm sure there's like 9,000 versions.
This was in the late early 90s.
90s?
Yeah,
Okay.
around 98. I think that's when I started. So I built a website, started selling music CDs. My dad, he had a business. He came to me and he said, "Hey, can you build my website?" I said, "Sure. I'm an expert at this. I learned HTML in 24 hours."
That's right.
I only got halfway through the book, mind you.
Oh, of course. No.
I never finished it. Never got the rest.
Of course not.
So I built him a website, and then he says, "Hey, there's these things called search engines, and I want to be found. So can you help me?" And he said, "I bought you a program called Web Position," and at the time that was the program for SEO.
Wow.
He bought that for me, and he said, "Help me get ranked on Alta Vista, Web Crawler, Excite, Dogpile."
Right.
Those
Dogpile.
those were
Ask
the engines
Jeeves.
back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ask Jeeves. And I'm like, okay, and that's really what got me started. And
Wow.
because I'm not a great designer and I'm not a great coder in the sense that, the databases were starting to become an important part of
Yep.
websites. And I'm like, that's just not my thing. But this marketing thing, I can get my head around.
Yeah.
So I just started with him, and then I picked up another client, and then I'm
Wow.
like, I need to hire somebody,
Yeah.
for this link building crap that nobody wants to do, and still nobody wants to do, and we still got to do. And I just built up my agency at that point, just slowly, adding people as needed. And I
Wow.
love it. I love data. In fact, coming up in the organic SEO side of things, I love doing that. I love solving problems. But data and user experience now really captivates me, because that's where you start getting into this. I can make a change here and I can look and see the result almost immediately.
Mm.
Optimization, I'm going to make some changes and we'll see. Give
We'll
us
see.
a few
Couple
months.
months.
You
Yeah.
know, we'll see if anything changed.
Right.
I'm gonna add some links. We'll see if that did anything. But when you get into user experience and you see how people are reacting with
Yeah.
the website, I love that. Okay, we're gonna make this change. Mark that. Let's follow it in 2 weeks. All right, here's the change. Here's what happened. Here's what people are doing. It's like, oh, I love that. So that's one of my favorite things now.
That makes sense, right? Because you actually get the results. I mean, the
Yeah.
worst part about the SEO is like, yeah, Google will get to it at some point.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I love, paid advertising, which I have never
Yes.
done myself, but you can get the results immediately. And
Oh, yeah.
I've always envied the PPC people. It's
Yeah.
like, man, you suck. You get results now.
Yeah. They get the instant gratification from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
And,
not, but at least they know it didn't work, right?
right.
But, but a lot of times people will wait, months to get their SEO traffic to come in. It comes in, it's the wrong traffic.
Yeah.
So I've
Yeah.
seen
Oh,
a lot of
yeah.
people use, AdWords to kind of help inform the keywords. And,
Right. Oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, hey,
yeah.
look, traffic went up, but conversions went down. So I screwed that one up.
All right, give us another 3 months.
Right. It's like
Oh man,
undo.
man, for sure, for sure. So you just got in this path of just doing
Yeah.
marketing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you've been
And
doing that ever since, never looking back. Just you haven't been like, oh, I wish I was a drummer. You're like, nope, good.
Um, I wished I was an author. How about that?
And you
Um,
made it happen.
well, I'm working on that. I wrote a book and writing another one,
Well, you wrote a
and so
nonfiction book. So what,
yeah.
tell me your take. Because when I was writing my book, by the way, it's on Amazon right now. Marketing Automation Unleashed. Just kidding. So, um,
Yeah,
uh, I
promo
found
that
though,
thing.
as soon as you're an author, you probably experience this. People like, so what are you up to? You're like, oh, my book's on Amazon. You want to go check it out? You're like a shameless plug. Like, oh man, I've become that guy. Like when people have kids or puppies, they're like, here's like 9 photos of my puppy. Sorry, it's like
Right.
here's 9 mentions of my book. Sorry.
Exactly. You know what? I have always, it's like, I will give you my book. Just go on Amazon and write a freaking review.
Write a review. Yeah,
And
for
how
sure.
many people are like, oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's the last you hear of them.
I've been guilty of that. I said that to someone, Samantha, shout out. I told her I would, and I did yesterday. So
There you go.
yeah, but I hear you're like, oh yeah, oh man, but it burned. It kind of like, you're like, oh, it's in your soul going, you
Yeah.
told her you would write that review. So
Oh, well, I'll tell you my favorite review that I got on Amazon. They've since took it down.
no.
Um, it said sucks.
Oh, I'm glad he took
That
it
was
down then.
it. That was it. And that was my favorite review because I am a big fan of negative reviews used to reinforce the positive. When I go to Amazon and I'm looking at reviews,
Yeah.
I go to the negative ones. I'm like, if you can't talk me out of buying this, I'm in. You
Oh,
know.
interesting.
So and when
That's a good point.
when they wrote sucks with nothing else, I'm like, one, that validates all the other 5-star reviews that I got
Yes,
because
it does.
they didn't talk anybody out of buying it with that review. I was like, and I was so mad when Amazon took that down. I was like, no, put it
Yeah.
back, put it back.
Yeah, you're right. I definitely have looked for restaurants and okay, 5544, but I'd go and I'd look to show me the ones and the twos if there are any. And
Yeah,
if there aren't, it's weird. But if there are, you're like, is this person crazy? Like
yeah,
just, oh, this sucks. No, they're like, I had this for the first course, and the person sounds completely reasonable, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I don't want to go here. But if they sound crazy, you're like, oh, that's a crazy person. Let me go
yeah.
check out some other reviews. So
Well,
that's a good point.
yeah, and if all somebody has is 4 and 5-star reviews, you tend to not believe them. You're like,
True.
okay, they've just been sending their friends and family there,
True.
loading that up. They gave everybody a copy of their book and said, go review it.
Right. Have you ever been
um,
to Nassau in the Bahamas?
no,
It's
but now
kind
I
of a
want to.
it's kind of a weird place. I'm sure there's some nice people there. I've met a few of them, but it's also it's like a boat town. A lot of those cruise ships come in, and
Oh,
I was looking at different places and things there. Family were doing a cruise coming up, and there's this one hotel in Nassau where you get a really well written thing saying, "Look, I stay at Hilton's all the time, and I would never stay at this place ever. Like, and here's why. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. Detailed, right? And then you see this flowery thing. The staff was accommodating so very much, and you're like, whatever. Get out of here. So fake.
yeah. I mean,
So
and you got
fake.
to realize everybody has a bad experience somewhere, even at the best
Right.
places, and as an author or wannabe fiction author, I'm very tight with a lot of indie authors on Twitter. And one of the things people often say is, if you get a negative review of your book, go look up your favorite book and read the 1-star reviews. And gives you context where this is my favorite book of all time, and here's somebody's trashing it. You're always going to get that. You're always going to get a negative review of your business. And a lot of times, and for our audience watching this or listening to this right now, it's how you handle that negative review.
Right.
A lot of times, if you have the opportunity to go back to that person and say, how do we make it right? I'm sorry you had a bad experience. I'm
Right.
sorry this didn't meet your expectations. What can we do to make it right? That in itself, if I see a negative review followed by, and then they did this, that to me is gold, because
Yeah.
everybody has a bad experience. And if somebody if they show that they're care enough to make it right, you've got a winner.
So right, as you just said to do that, I did that, and there are people that are shitting all over this book that I've listened to like 5 times. Um, They're like, it's not a whole story. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's not a whole story. It's definitely a whole story. You suck. Oh, I can comment? Oh, you can comment on other people's reviews?
Yes, you can.
Burn.
Yes,
Get out of here, troll. This book's fantastic. You know?
Right.
Let me know if you need any muscle on your reviews. I'll swoop by and be like, no, you suck.
Right. Now, I'm lucky. I've got mostly 4 and 5. My next favorite one, which I think is still there, was a 3-star review. And it said, it's more like a checklist than a book. And I'm thinking, yeah, it is.
Yep.
It's a digital marketing checklist. It's in the name. It's right there in the title. It's a checklist.
We literally called it a book full of checklists. So
I don't know how to meet your expectations other than that, but okay, 3 stars, whatever.
It says there is a 1-star out there somewhere, but none of them come up when I search for your book. That must have been that one. It sucks that got deleted. So you don't have any 2 stars either. So you're doing something right. It won't show me the 3 stars. You must have optimized this in some magical way. I can't find any of the bad ones. I see what you're doing here. That's fantastic. The only thing that comes up is 4 and 5.
How's that possible?
You're learning from the best here, people. Doesn't just tell you about it; it actually does it too. That's fantastic. Well, this is fantastic, man. How can people get in touch with you? Whether it's to do some SEO projects or just to follow you on the web, get some of your thought leadership. What are some good sites and ways to reach out?
Well, I'm on Twitter at Stoney D. And if you want to actually reach out to me, my email address is stoneygd at gmail.com. Okay. And you got to get the right order of GD because it's confusing because my last name is DEG. So people think it's Stoney DG, not GD. And
why'd you do that?
My middle name is G.
Oh, okay.
So it was, and I didn't even think about it until a year ago. Somebody's like, yeah, this is confusing. Like, it is? Oh,
so you're Stoney GDG, really? But that's not the email.
Now nobody's going to be able to email me because we gave them all the other versions.
Right.
Stoney GD at Gmail.
Exactly, and I won't say a word. That's awesome. Well, thanks for coming on here, man. This has been a blast. I mean, I've learned a bunch, geeked out a bit, and had a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's great.
Yeah, for sure. And, for those listening, if you had fun, and I know you did because I did, but if you learned something, and I also know you did that too because I literally have pages of notes over here, then share this with someone else. Be a thought leader to 1, 2 other people or 1,000. Hey, your tribe, however big it is, just share this thing, get it in their hands. And then, of course, reach out to Stoney, as I'm going to afterward, to get our SEO in line and make sure we're good. Scoop him up while he's here.
All right.
And thanks again, man. This has been fantastic.
You bet. I appreciate it. This is fun.
Right on. For everyone out there listening, this has been the Hardcore Marketing Show. Catch y'all next time. All right. A big thank you to today's sponsors. Cheshire Impact, helping marketers and sales win, maximizing the use of Pardot and Salesforce. And a big thank you to Qualified.com, the #1 live chat and chatbot platform for Salesforce and Pardot. Remember the giveaway. If you have Salesforce Pardot and you want a free copy of my book, Marketing Automation Unleashed, then you go over to Qualified.com, engage in a chat, do a demo, and tell them that Casey sent you, and that book will be on its way to your door. All right. We'll see you all in the next one.